Hey guys, Dave again, coming at you from Rivergate Park in downtown Cleveland, Ohio, right by the river. Sitting here watching the boats and the, boats and things that float on the water go by. Kayaks, rowing boats, and things like that go by. Just coming at you from downtown Cleveland. Been on a long photo walk today. I think that's why I can't talk. Started about 6:30 a.m. this morning and plan on finishing about 8 o'clock tonight. Right now it's about 4:30. So I've got about 3.5 hours at least left and probably a long walk back to my car. But anyway, today we're going to talk about the Canon FTb series of cameras. That thing is like a brick. It requires no batteries to work, only for the meter, but who cares about the meter, right? You're going to use your app or your handheld meter anyway. So let's take a look at this tank, and I'll give you some reasons why you might want to pick one up. Roll the intro. All right, hey guys, welcome back for another one of my vintage camera talks, overviews or reviews or whatever you want to call it. And today we're going to talk about the wonderful Canon FTb QL. So let's get to it. First off, this is a beautiful, beautiful, all fully mechanical manual camera, just as manual as you would ever want to be. It's not like the Canon A series where they require batteries to operate. This guy doesn't even require a battery. You put your film in and boom, shoot right away. Shutter speeds go from bulb all the way up to 1/1000th of a second. We have a lock for the shutter, which I like, so you don't accidentally fire it in the camera bag, though half the time I forget to do that and fire one anyway. It happens, you know, it just happens. Things like that happen. Let's continue forth. Talking about the Canon FTb QL. On the front lower left here, we have a PC socket. If you're into the old school flashes, on the top you got an actual hot shoe, as opposed to the older Canon FT, which did not have the hot shoe. They had a cold shoe, but this has the hot shoe. Nice viewfinder. Unfortunately, this does not have a prism screen. It's just a contrast square in there, micro prism, I guess you call it. It doesn't actually have a split prism, so it's a little harder to focus than the A series. So if you're into that, you may want to look at the A series. But then you got to deal with batteries. With this guy, you would need a battery that would go up here in the upper left-hand corner compartment to control the meter, but this one takes the old Mercury style batteries, which you can't get anymore. So, and most of them don't, the meter doesn't even work, so I don't worry about it. Don't do it. Don't use a meter. Use a hand meter. Use your phone. Use whatever. The Sunny 16 rule, it's not that hard. So let's move on. Let's take a look at this camera again. We've talked about a few things so far. We got our standard rewind crank here, and right by the rewind crank, we have the on-off switch for the meter, and then you have a C, which is your battery check. But like I said, you know what? You leave it off and you just go shoot and use the Sunny 16 rule. You don't need a built-in meter. So many people get hung up on cameras, old cameras like this, and they don't want to use them because they don't have a meter built in. Don't worry about it. There's free apps for your phone that you can meter with. No problem. It's not a big deal. Once you get used to it, you can do it on the fly. You know, hey, I'm shooting Sunny 16 roll, boom. I'm in the shade. I'm going to drop 2 to 3 stops in the shade. I'm in dark shade. I might drop 4 stops. You know what I'm saying? Mic problem. All right, I'm back. We had a little mic issue. The mic fell a little bit on me. Actually, we need to adjust the windscreen just a little bit. The mic started to fall on me, so I had to get back up and readjust it. So now we're back with a review of the Canon FTb QL. Again, this is just a wonderful all-manual camera, nice and heavy, made out of brass, and it'll brass nicely when that paint wears off of that. Beautiful, beautiful camera. They do make it in silver as well, silver version, and I had one of those, which I can show you a picture of later, but I did sell it, so I do not have it with me on hand to show it because I'm just not into the silver and black. I'm into cameras that are all black. I just like the discreetness, the look of the all black cameras better. I don't know what to say. You know, whatever. You can let me know in the comments which kind you like better, but I just like the all black ones. So I kept this all black one. these are a lot harder to find, especially in this condition, than the silver ones, but you can pick a silver one up pretty cheap if you're into those. The black one, you're going to spend a little bit more money, but this one was just a beautiful condition, Canon FTb QL in black, and I just really liked it. This particular one is the earlier version, so these started being built in 1971, and this one as well as the silver one that I had were both the earlier versions, and I know that because of a couple of different things. The film crank here, film wind crank, is all metal. It's a single all metal piece. The newer style of this camera, it went to a two-piece plastic. All right, it's still solid, but it has they put a big piece of plastic on here, probably to make it a little more comfortable for your thumb. But another weird thing about me, I like the all black cameras. I like all metal film rewind or film wind cranks, not rewind. The rewind cranks, rewind cranks here. This is my film wind crank here, but I like them, the ones all metal. I don't like the two-piece plastic ones and such. I actually bought and sold a Leica M7 a while back because it had a two-piece plastic crank, and I just didn't dig that, so I ended up getting another one that has the all metal style. But as far as this guy goes, on this side you got the self-timer lever, and you know, that's about it. You know, your aperture's on your lens, your shutter speed, self-timer, you set your film speed on the dial, which again, don't use a meter. Forget trying to find batteries in this thing. Don't use the camera meter, rather. Don't try to find batteries for this thing. Just shoot it. Use the Sunny 16 rule. Use your phone. You're going to be right on anyway. So it's not a big deal. So the ASA dial that's in with the shutter speed, you know, really just help you remind you what kind of film you have in the camera if you want to set it when you put the film in there, because there is no door. There's no square on the back to put your film in. Now the one thing about this camera, it is the QL, and Canon made these, and they made some Canonettes and some other cameras in what they call the QL, which is a quick load feature. So you don't have to take that tongue of the film and you gotta fish it down in there and fidget with it, and then you're good, and again it slips and you gotta pull it out and you gotta put it back in again and all this stuff. So this is supposed to alleviate that problem. And if I open the back door on this one, which by the way I also put new seals in, so it's nice and tight, as you can see, to getting it open. But if you open the back door here, you can see that it has this extra little piece right here. That, when you put the film in and you pull the film over, all you need to do is lay it down. There's a red line right in here, and as long as the end of that leader is somewhere in that red line area, you just pull over in the red line area, and then you just simply close the door. And when you do that, this guy here has got a couple little rollers, and it just pushes the film down where it needs to be. So when you close the door, the film is where it needs to be. It gets it in the sprockets, and you can start winding, and you're gone. Now, why that feature was taken off, I don't know. I don't know if it was because there's too many little pieces and parts involved in there, and they tried to cut costs and they got rid of that. But obviously in the A series and so forth and onward after that, no more quick loading feature. But it is on in a lot of the FTBs and the Canonettes and probably some other cameras that I don't even know about that they made back then. But they're all designated with this little QL logo right here on the side, but that's what that means, quick load. All right, and B would be revision B of this camera, because there was an FT that wanted to have a hot shoe. So that was the difference. The other thing that, again, let's go back to this metal lever deal. So this is the original version with the metal lever, and then the timer here was changed as well. So this timer down here is a little different, a little more plasticky, and the handle's a little more plasticky. Well, let's see if we can get some more facts about this. In 1973 is when that design was changed. So from 71 to 73, they were made like this. In 1973, they went to the plastic lever and so forth. And the outer edge of the shutter speed dial was changed from a scallop design to a diamond texture. So this is a scallop design, and then the newer style would be a diamond texture design, more like almost like dots, whereas this is more like lines. And the shutter speed display was added into the viewfinder. There you go. So those are the differences between the newer version and this. But again, I prefer just the more classic feel of this older version with the it's just beautiful. It's just a beautiful camera, if you can't tell. I really like this camera, and it's fun to shoot with. Okay, it is a bear to focus. That's the worst part about it, especially with these eyes, these old eyes. It is harder to focus without a split prism, but if I use my glasses and take my time with it, I can nail it every time. So it's not a big deal in that perspective. On the bottom, you have your standard tripod socket and your rewind. That's it. It's so simple. It's just a beautiful, simple, all mechanical piece of equipment. And if you're into Canon, if you're into the nice heavy metal feeling cameras that you could like knock, see, I don't worry about walking down the street with a camera like this hanging on my over my shoulder like this. Somebody gets in my stuff, I just got to go boom like that, you know, bam. You got about 2 pounds of solid brass coming up somebody's head right there. So if you're shooting by yourself, hey, this could save your life. Who knows? Who knows? You could definitely defend yourself with it. It is one heavy beast, and probably still use it after. So if you're looking for something nice and heavy and built like the old Leicas, this is it. Right here it is. This is a solid, well-built camera, SLR from Canon. Takes the FD mount lenses, and this one I've got paired up with the old style chrome front, chrome ring, breech mount, FD50 1.14 or 1:14 lens. So nice fast old glass there with it. Let's see, this is yeah, that's it. This is it. This is the Canon FTb. You can pick these up cheap in a silver version. Sometimes you can find them for $25, $30, probably even with at least a 1.8 lens. Maybe harder to find with a 1.4 lens, but with a 1.8, probably pick up one up for 30, 35 bucks. And it's a great camera. If you're into the black, like I am, and you like these, you're going to spend upwards, probably closer to $100 to find a good black one like this, or even more, depending on where you get it from. Anyway, hey, that's enough yakking today about the Canon FTb. So go out, get yourself a roll of film, pick up your old vintage camera, and give it some use. Give it some use. It's just like these cameras are just, it's just amazing to me. 1971. Let's say it was made in 1973. Let's go to the later end on this particular one. So even if it was made in 1973, we're talking 2019. So 1973 to 2019, that's a long, long stinking time. That's like 40 years, 40 some years. So this camera's 40 some years old, and it still works. You're not going to get that in a digital camera, people. You're not going to get that in one of these phone cameras. You're not going to get that in any of that kind of stuff. Come back in 46 years and tell me that your Canon 1DX, your $5,500 Canon 1DX Mark II is still working, or your new Canon 1DX Mark III is still taking pictures. It ain't going to happen, people. It ain't going to happen. Get yourself a vintage film camera, get yourself some film so you can have a brand new sensor on every single shot, and just go have some fun. And forget about all that digital crap, all right? Let me know what you think about the Canon FTb in the comments. Thanks for listening to my rambling today, and hope you picked up something, learned something about this camera. If you have any questions, hit me up. Peace!